Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Move with Money. Today's class is going to be a 20-minute stretch and sweat yoga flow. As always, all you need is yourself and your mat. And when you're ready, let's get started. Let's begin today's class standing on the back of our mat. Take this moment here to bring your awareness to this present moment and to your breath. Relax your shoulders down and away from your ears, and maybe set an intention for today's class. Let's take a few deep breaths here, focusing on this present moment. On your next inhale, bring your hands up in the air. Take a nice deep breath, and then grab your left wrist with your right hand, and then cross your left leg behind your right for a nice stretch on the left side of your body. Try to keep your chest up towards the sky for a deeper stretch. And then let's come back to center and do the same thing on the other side. Grab your right wrist with your left hand and then cross your right leg behind your left for a nice stretch. Take a nice deep breath here and then come back to center. On your next inhale, clasp your hands behind your back, and then slow and controlled, start working your way down to a forward fold, keeping a slight bend in your knees and bringing your hands up in the air for a nice stretch for both your shoulders and the back of your legs. Take a nice deep breath here, and as you exhale, slow and controlled, come on back up, making sure your head is last to come up. We're going to do that 2 more times. Take a nice deep inhale, stand in. Exhale as you slow and controlled work your way down to your forward fold, keeping a slight bend in your knees, bringing your hand up in the air. Take a deep breath here. On your exhale, slow and controlled, come on back to stand in, making sure your head is last to come up. Last one, take a deep inhale. As you exhale, forward fold, slow and controlled. Take a nice deep breath here. And then exhale, slow and controlled, come back to stand in. On your next inhale, bring your hands up in the air. Exhale as you forward fold, bringing your hands down to the mat, and then walking your hands forward to a high plank, and then dropping your knees down to the mat. Untuck your toes. We're going to work on some shoulder stretches here. So come on your hands and your knees, making sure you have a neutral spine. On your inhale, bring your right hand up in the air. Exhale as you thread the needle under your left arm, pressing your shoulder and your ear down towards the mat. Take a nice deep breath here. And then come back to center. Let's do the same thing to the other side. Bring your left hand up in the air. Exhale as you thread the needle under your right arm, pressing your shoulder and your ears down towards the mat. Take a nice deep breath. And then come back to center. Go ahead and tuck your toes. Inhale and exhale as you push your hips up and back to our first downward dog. Take a moment here to bring your awareness back to your breath. Maybe pedal your heels to get a nice deep stretch in the back of your legs. Take a nice deep inhale here, and as you exhale, shift forward into a high plank, making sure your wrists are under your shoulders. Take one deep breath here, and then shift back into your downward dog. Let's do that 2 more times. Take a nice deep inhale. Exhale as you shift forward into a high plank. Inhale and exhale as you push back into your downward dog. Last one, take a nice deep inhale here. Exhale as you shift forward to your high plank, and then drop your knees down to the mat, untuck your toes, and push your hips back for a child's pose. Let's take this moment here to bring our awareness back to our breath. Really sink into this child pose to get a nice deep stretch in your hips and your groin. Take a nice deep inhale. Exhale as you sink lower. And then let's come on up to our hands and our knees. Go ahead and tuck your toes and push back to your downward dog. On your inhale, bend your right knee and bring it forward towards your chest, and then set your knee down on the outside of your right hand, keeping your right shin parallel to the front of the mat. Lower your left leg down to the mat, come into your pigeon pose. Keep your chest up. Option to stay here, or if it feels good for you, take your time and slowly lower down into a forward fold. This is a really good stretch for your hips, and make sure you are breathing into this pose. Inhale to create space, exhale to sink lower into your right hip. Let's slowly come on back up now. Keeping your right knee bent, let's come to a seated position. Bring in your right foot to your inner left thigh, flexing your left foot. On your next inhale, reach your right hand up and over as you stretch to the side, keeping your chest up in the air for a nice deep side stretch and a good stretch for your inner thighs as well. Making sure you're taking nice deep breaths in this pose. Then let's come back to center. Shift your hips back to your pigeon pose. Let's take one deep breath here. And then exhale as you carefully step your leg back to your downward dog. Take a moment here to bring your awareness back to your body, back to your breath. Observe maybe if one hip feels a little different from the other. Take the time to pedal your heels, and let's do the same thing to the other side. Inhale, raise your left leg up, and exhale as you set it down for your pigeon pose. Keeping your chest up. Again, option to stay here, or if you would like a deeper stretch and you'll like to challenge yourself a little bit more, go ahead and slow and controlled forward fold. Making sure you're taking nice deep breaths as you forward fold here. Inhale as you create space. Exhale as you sink lower into your left hip. Slowly come on back up, keeping your left knee bent. Let's come to a seated position. Bring in that left foot against your inner right thigh and flexing your right foot. On your next inhale, create space. Reach your left hand over, stretching the side of your body and your inner thighs, making sure you're breathing here. And seeing if maybe you can stretch a little bit deeper. Slowly come back to center and then work your way back forward to your pigeon pose. Take a nice deep breath here, and then carefully set your left foot back to your downward dog. Take a moment here to pedal your heels, bringing your awareness back to your breath as always. Carefully start walking your hands back towards your feet, coming into your standing forward fold. Keeping a slight bend in your knees here. Inhale as you halfway lift, bringing your hand to your knees. Exhale as you forward fold, coming back down, keeping a slight bend in your knees. Inhale as you halfway lift again, bringing your hand to your knees. And exhale as you raise your hands up in the air, taking a nice deep inhale. Exhale, bring your hands down to prayer. Let's take another deep breath. Inhale as you reach your hands up in the air. Exhale as you tuck in your chin, lower down, forward fold. Set your hands down to the mat and walk it forward to your high plank. Chaturanga, option to drop your knees to the mat or take your full push-up, keeping your elbows close to your ribs. Go ahead and come on up to your upward dog, straightening your elbow, and then push back to your downward dog. Inhale, bring your right leg up in the air for your three-legged dog. Exhale as you step your right foot in between your hands, coming into your low lunge. Set your left knee down to the mat. Keep your chest up and bring your hands to your right knee. Sink into this pose. And then bring your hands to prayer. And then twist as you bring your left elbow to the outside of your right knee. Come into a prayer twist. Take a nice deep breath here. And you can either stay here, or if you'll like a little bit of a challenge, untuck your left toe and lift your knee off the mat. This is a really good stretch for both your balance and flexibility. Go ahead and set your left knee back down to the mat. Set your hands down to the mat and carefully step your legs back to a downward dog. Let's do the same thing to the other side. Lift your left leg up in the air for your three-legged dog. And then step your left foot in between your hands for your low lunge. Set your right knee down to the mat and bring your hands to your left knee. Sinking deep into this pose. And then bring your hands to prayer, shift forward, and then bring your right elbow to the outside of your left knee, coming into your prayer twist. Again, option is stay here, or you can go ahead and tuck your toes and lift your right knee off the mat. Making sure you're breathing. Go ahead and set your knee back down to the mat. Set your hands back down to the mat. And then step back into your downward dog. Shift your body forward to a high plank. Lower down for your chaturanga. Option to drop your knees or take the full push-up. Come on up to your upward dog. And this time around, drop your knees to the mat. Cross your legs behind you. Come to a seated position. Go ahead and bring your legs out in front of you. You can shift forward to the front of the mat. Go ahead and take a nice deep breath here. We're almost at the end of class. We're going to work on our high boat and some abs now. Option to keep your hands behind your thighs, or if you like a little bit of a challenge, bring your hands out in front of you and bring your legs up to a tabletop to about a 45-degree angle to your high boat. Either stay here with your knees bent, or if you like a little bit of a challenge, straighten your legs out in front of you. And let's hold here for 3, 2, 1. Good job. Now bring your hands behind your neck as you lower down, slow and controlled. And let's take some scissor kicks for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good job. Go ahead and bend your knees, hug your knees. Take a breather here. Bring your awareness back to your body, back to your breath. Maybe circle your knees if that feels good for you. And then set your feet down to the mat, opening up, bringing the soles of your feet together, coming into a butterfly pose to release any tension in your hips, your groin. Go ahead and close your knees and come back to a seated position. We're going to do that series 2 more times. So when you're ready, go ahead and come back to your high boat. We're not going to hold for as long this time. Option to bend your knees or straighten them out for a little bit of a challenge. Go ahead and bring your hands behind your head and lower down, slow and controlled. Scissor kick for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good job. Go ahead and hug your knees. Circle them if that feels good for you. And then set your feet down to the mat, bringing the soles of your feet together, coming into your butterfly pose once again. Take this moment to bring your awareness back to your breath, back to your body. Go ahead and close your knees. We're going to do the series one last time. Come on up to seated. When you're ready, bring your feet up in the air for your high boat. Try to challenge yourself this time and straighten your knees out. Hold here for 3, 2, 1. Lower down and let's scissor kick for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good job. Go ahead and bend your knees, hug your knees. You did such a good job today. Go ahead and come back to your butterfly pose. Take a moment here to bring your awareness to your body. Let's take one final stretch for today's class for our lower back. Go ahead and close your knees together. Bring your hands out to the side and then drop your knees over to the left side of the room. This should feel really good for your lower back. Take a nice deep breath. And then come back to center. Drop your knees over to the right. Take a nice deep breath. And then come back to center for your final resting pose. Straighten your legs out in front of you. Bring your hands out to the side. And take this moment for yourself. When you're ready, carefully and slowly come to your side and then slowly come on up to seated. Come in a cross-legged position and let's take one last breath together. Take a nice deep inhale as you reach your hands up in the air. Exhale as you bring your hands down to prayer. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. I really hope you enjoyed today's stretch and sweat. And if you did, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and share this video with your friends and your family. And I will see you in my next one.